Vamos fazer um regaço, um regaço, um regaço. Colarinha dos amassos, amassos, amassos. Vamos fazer um regaço, um regaço, um regaço. Rafa Gomes, digam no beat. Não perde tempo escolhendo a roupa, porque no fim eu sei que vou tirar. Fala tchau pro seu batom na boca e fala oi pra quem te faz pirar. Se você já tá com a mesma sensação, pode vir que eu tô um cão. Tá descontrolada toda essa tara e não para porque a coisa ficou mara. Vou te ganhar no cansaço, no cansaço, no cansaço. Vamos fazer um regaço, um regaço, um regaço. Colar em altos amassos, amassos, amassos. Vamos fazer um regaço, um regaço, um regaço. Vou te ganhar no cansaço, no cansaço, no cansaço. Vamos fazer um regaço, um regaço, um regaço. Colar em altos amassos, amassos, amassos. Vamos fazer um regaço, um regaço, um regaço.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network and its website are those of the hosts, guests, and participants, and are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcasts, the management, other hosts, or advertisers of the network. The shows found on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network can, but do not necessarily, promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and/or claim any cure of disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Now, John, how many times have I told you I'm not the best, I'm not the worst, I'm just a talk show host. Well, tonight I have my Saturday host on with us as a guest, and we're going to be talking about things like Area 51. We're going to be talking about what happened to me, why I've been off the radio for 4+ weeks. We're going to be talking about that, and then we're going to be talking a little bit about Art Bell, and this Area 51 thing has got me going crazy. And we're going to be talking probably about that the very first thing. We'll be right back with James right after this.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
Well, that is me. Boy, that thunder is so bad here tonight. Down at the compound. Well, James, how you doing, my friend? It's been a long time since you've been on the air, too.
It's been forever. My goodness. You know, I still say Karen Banks had the best idea. We're going to wrap you up in bubble wrap and set you free.
I have no idea. But you know what? When people start getting older, I'm talking about in their 60s, you know, they kind of slow down a little bit because you know what? Things that happen to you like when you're in 20, 30, 40, even 50 can be a major change in your life. You know that, James?
Well, that's what they say, but, you know, I'm 74, and I'm just a genetic freak. I'm just going to keep going on about 120, I think.
Okay. You're how old now? James, how old are you?
74.
Yeah, sure. Uh-huh. What have you been drinking tonight?
Mountain Dew. It's got me all messed up.
Yeah, it would. You probably have no insides drinking that stuff. But you know what? I just found, at my age, the first, we got a little mini farm down at the compound. We got mini horses and we got some goats. And, this goat got out. I tried to get it back into the pen. And all I did was take my eyes off this goat probably for 5 seconds. And boy, did I see stars when it rammed me. And thank God one of those horns didn't go where it doesn't shine, at nighttime. Because I tell you, that would have been even worse. I felt good after I got off the ground. I didn't have hurt. No, I felt fantastic. The next day, about 1 o'clock, all of a sudden, every bone in my body started hurting. And then I lost my coordination and I took a major fall. Now, on that fall, it wasn't that bad. I only sprained my ankle. I only tore my knee out, where it was at a 45-degree angle. Sprained my lower back and middle back. But then the other two falls that fell, like a week later, I tell you, the paramedics love my house. Because, when you have to get taken down a flight of stairs, that is really bizarre as it is, because our house is not ground level. But, to go up to the main part of the house, you got to go up these two weird angle flights of stairs. Now, going into my house, because the studio's in it, and we did some remodeling, the hallways are a little bit more narrow. I'd tell you one thing. Thank God we have paramedics, because without them, I probably wouldn't be here right now. I'm telling you that. And thank God I'm only about 5 minutes or less away from the hospital. That was a big help.
Yeah, and, when you get to know your paramedics on a first-name basis, that's a red flag to, you need to do something. Slow down, stay away from goats or something, buddy. Jesus.
Well, you know what? I'm still, I'm feeling better. I am really feeling better today. I went, 2.5 weeks without even eating. I couldn't eat or drink anything. That was scary. And now I'm back where I just started eating a couple days ago. and a lot thinner. That's good. Still can't stand, still can't walk because the nerve damage in my back and my knee is like toasted. But I'm hoping here with, I'm going to go in next month and start physical therapy if I can get back walking again, if I can go clean the pen, for the goat and the horses. But anyway, so how you been, James?
Stay away from the goat. I'd feel a lot better. I really would. I could sleep better at night if I knew that you would stay away from the goat. That goat is evil.
They are evil, all of them, especially the bigger ones with the horns. The goat couldn't wait for me. Well, as long as I was looking at it, the goat behaved beautiful. As soon as I took my eyes off it, it decided, hey, I'm going to get back at you for something. It did.
Yeah, it got you all right. It's not worth it. Let it go.
I already have. So okay, I have been watching some of your Facebook Live shows. They're interesting. But I think, we're going to start you back on Saturdays back in August. By then I'll have all my strength back where I can, to do your show. As you know, I have to run the board here in the main studio.
Yep. Yes, you do. I'm glad you do. But you can't do it if you can't move, for the love of God. You got to get yourself well first.
Oh, yeah. So what do you think about this crap? An Area 51 has been circulating on all the news and building up every day. I tell you, for the last 2 weeks, I being confined to bed and watching the news and, getting on, I hate to say it, I hardly been on Facebook for the last, except for today, for the last couple weeks. And I'll tell you, that was nice. But every time I go on, it's Area 51. We got to march on it. We're going to do this. That is so freaking crazy.
What's the point? What do they think you're going to get out of it, really? What you're going to get is some lead in your ass, and it's not worth it, and they're not going to tell you nothing. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I mean, really. You're not going to protest and make the government tell you anything or show you anything. For one thing, it's almost an act of treason to do such a thing, isn't it?
Oh, well, put it this way. They have the right. They don't use rubber bullets. You remember back about 5 months ago, I did a show about a guy that took a cylinder and in a tarp or a plastic bag, and he walked through the gate at Area 51 because he was going to show somebody what he found, right? Well, they brought him out in a body bag.
That night, I was co-hosting with you on the show when that happened that night. Remember, because you broke the story as it came in while we were live.
Oh, yeah. And that is right there, folks, is going to show you what happens if you go on Area 51. Now, you might only be arrested, but you know what? This thing is multiplied in the past year and a half where it's crazy. Now, I'm going to go into something which is probably, I'm not going to mention a particular person's name. As some of my listeners might know that I've known Art Bell when he was alive, Art Bell for many years. I'm going to tell you how I originally met Art Bell, and then we'll go into it. I would go with my sons, because I did ride a motorcycle, a Harley. We would go from Tacoma, Washington area, or Gig Harbor, the compound, and we would go the long way to Reno and then to the deserts, and then we'd go through Pahrump and go, sightseeing. And we were in Pahrump, and I went into the grocery store to buy water and some supplies. Who did I run into originally? Art Bell. And I said something, and I must have caught him in one of his good moods because he actually talked to me. And we, walked out of the parking lot, and he goes, hey, we were talking about my days when I used to be a licensed amateur when I was young and all that stuff. He goes, you need to come over to my compound and see my antenna array. Hey, well, you know what? That's like telling a addict, well, hey, come over here and I'll give you some smack or whatever it's called. And that's how I met him. And I went over there and we socialized and we talked. I got to know him. And then every summer, that he didn't go to the Philippines or he didn't go somewhere else. And if he was around late May, early June, I would stop by and we'd spend the day just bullshitting. And I got to know Art pretty well. And, we weren't best of buddies, but we weren't, enemies. We call each other on the phone. And one thing I will say, when Art would call you, you never knew who it was because the phone number was always different. But, it was. So you picked up the phone and you didn't, hey, maybe it's a bill collector. No, it was Art Bell.
Man of mystery.
Yeah, mystery. And, we had some long talks. And, I was retired out of radio for about 10 years. I rather bored. And one day, it was back like two Septembers ago, I get this phone call from Art. And, Art says, hey, are you done riding those Harleys at your age? Do you want to kill yourself? And I go, yeah. And I was kind of blowing him off. And he goes, no, you need to get back into radio. And, I was in radio since 1976. I was retired, but you know what? It kind of, hit home that, hey, that might be kind of fun. So I started my first show, and the first show was called Motorcycle Talk by Gary. Hell, maybe 2 people listened. And then I get this phone call from Art, and he says, well, have you learned your lesson? I don't think anybody's listening to your show. And I go, Art, you're absolutely right. I think I listen to myself more than other people do by listening to replays of my show. Anyway, from there, I started getting back into what I've always done in talk radio is paranormal. And then things, it took about a year, and then things started clicking. Because all of a sudden, after a year of, I don't know if I want to do this or not, it started being fun. And I always remember something Art told me. He goes, Gary, a talk show should be it's entertainment, number one. Keep the listeners happy. And if it's educational where they learn something, that is cool. But always treat your listeners with total respect. And, when we had that little lecture, and I call it a lecture from Art, I sat back over a weekend. I think even I told you at that point, hey, I'm going to change how I do my show. I'm going to step it up. And, and I would step it up, and then I get a phone call again from Art. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do, and I would do it. And now I feel totally comfortable, doing a show. Now, all those years I've been in broadcasting, I worked for somebody. I was in commercial broadcasting. I didn't have to push all these things.